Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Here you go. Coffee's on me and my new BFF. I thought I was your best friend forever. BFF like best financial friend at Members Own Credit Union. Right now, they're offering $100 when you consolidate or transfer a loan or an existing credit card balance and meet requirements. Plus, you get great rates and free advice from a financial partner that will put you first. That sounds like a match made in heaven. Members Own Credit Union is the type of bestie you can count on. Get started today at memberzonecu.org/BFF. Limitations may apply. Equal housing opportunity.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, you see a chance of showers and storms throughout the day. Otherwise cloudy with the high around 75. Tonight, a continued chance of showers and storms with a low around 60. And tomorrow, we'll see mainly sunny skies return. An afternoon high around 82. Meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with laborers starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for laborers, mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com. If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
This is Brad with Midwest Bank, proudly serving our Nebraska communities for over 70 years. We're a community bank, making local decisions, supporting local organizations, and helping local businesses and farms succeed. We are dedicated to serving our clients and helping them meet their financial needs with sound, innovative banking solutions. From an array of checking and deposit accounts, cash management services, to small business, real estate, and ag lending. We're here for you. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at midwestbank.com. Member FDIC.
It's time to go one-on-one with DP. Coming at you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios. Here is your host, Derek Pearson. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy Friday. You made it. You made it. Everything that you stressed about, everything you worried about, you made it. You beat it. It didn't get you. It did not get you. So congratulations to you for getting through your week. This was an exceptional week all the way around. This is kind of a recap of the week, and there are lots of stories to talk about. Of course, the lead today is that the Husker baseball program did not get it done. They did not have that sort of success that we were looking for, hoping for against Florida. They lose game one of the regional 5-2. It had opportunities, had bases loaded with one out in the 8th with an opportunity to make plays. They had a line drive that almost got down in center field that would have probably at that point tied it at 4-4. And then kept giving them, an opportunity, but the play was made and then a strikeout followed. And then it becomes, it's that thing that happens. You exhale. Mind you, this is a gritty Nebraska baseball team. They know how to battle, and they know how to fight to the last out. But a thing happens when you miss an opportunity on the big stage. And then a hanging breaking ball gets clobbered to left field. It's 5-2, and then they can't get runs in the 9th. But they will get another chance tomorrow. We will find out shortly who their opponent will be as Oklahoma State and Agra play currently in Stillwater, and there's a whole chain of ball games going on that we can talk about, and several really interesting matchups. And Ben, let me ask you a question, though.
Okay.
Let me ask you a question.
Hit me.
Give me a scale of 1 to 5, how excited you are that Nebraska is in the tournament as a 2 seed.
As a 2 seed?
Yep.
I would say 3 or 4. 3.5.
Okay.
I'll go 3.5.
If Husker softball was playing in the regional, how excited would you be? Same level?
A little bit more because I don't know. Just because of Jordy Ball and all the excitement around that, I feel it could be a little bit more. I'd say like a 4 out of 5.
What's your expectation? What is your excitement level for next year with Nebraska softball?
I mean, when you have Jordy Ball on the team, I mean, I'm always going to be excited. I mean, and fans are excited too. I mean, I was super pumped to watch the team this year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I still did watch the games, obviously, but like, it wasn't the same. There was so much hype around Jordy Ball in this team. Like, they were ranked at the beginning of the year. And obviously, I mean, they were still a pretty good team in the Big Ten this year, but, not on the level of what people thought they could be with Jordy Ball. So there's definitely got to be higher expectations for next year. Anytime, you're basically going to be adding Jordy Ball next year. I mean, you added it this year, but you didn't have her this year. She was out in the first game of the year. So that kind of made it a disappointing softball season, but I'm excited for next season.
What happens? You add the twins, and then you add another legitimate Big Ten middle infielder, middle of the batting order.
Yeah.
Talent to your roster. Yes, you have some replacements to do.
Yeah.
But how far does Nebraska, which program do you think is in better hands? Baseball or softball?
I think softball has a higher ceiling, but I mean, I feel like there's going to be a decent amount of turnover though with the softball team.
Like, I was pondering this, that even with the best softball player in the country on Nebraska's roster, and so basically you're adding a year improved Jordy Ball to your roster, and then 3 Power 5 players added to the roster.
And granted, you lost some.
Right? You lost some, but then imagine what baseball has to do to generate that sort of transfer portal buzz.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to get the best player in the country. If they got 3 Power 5 players to join in the roster, we would about lose our minds.
Yeah. I mean, softball is kind of on another level when it comes to recruiting and everything like that.
I think that's a real thing, that to pay attention to Nebraska having the opportunity. And again, we did this conversation last week. Huskers lose game 1 of the Big Ten tournament. People exhale, they sigh, oh, here we go again. No, I'm not doing that. But here's what I know to be true. I'm not surprised if Nebraska wins the region. Still.
Why?
You've got the grittiness. You have it's a phrase that my coach used to call baseball integrity. In that you don't get selfish, which has been the finger point at some recent Husker teams, that there were some me first guys.
Definitely.
Right? Then the ability to concede and have big time players who step up. I mean, listen, Gabe Swanson had a day, right? Had a day, hit a bomb, hit a double off the wall. So yeah, he had a day. He didn't get much help, but okay. I think from a Husker baseball standpoint, that winning tomorrow, no matter who they play, whether it's Niagara or Oklahoma State, that they have the pieces to play well. And then if they can not beat themselves, and that's what tournament baseball is on the collegiate level. Can you not beat yourself? There are times when the other team's just better than you. Today, Florida hit bombs.
Yeah.
That's what they do. Okay. The strikeout numbers were not what you wanted them to be. because that's how you get Florida out.
Mhm.
You get them out through strikeout.
And you have to go out on base.
Right? The left on base thing is, as a coach,
What was it, 8?
that's what I'm gonna pull up the box score because I want to be clear in the numbers, and
Yeah.
it kind of makes my head hurt because now here's why. I'm not bothered that you had the bases loaded with 1 out and didn't get runs. I'm bothered that in the other situations you didn't capitalize by putting the ball in play when you needed to, because they had a really good at bat with 1 out and the bases loaded.
Mm-hmm.
A line drive up the middle means you're on it. You're on the pitch. Hit a line drive, center fielder got a good jump, came sprinting in, too tight of a line drive to have the runner tag. Although you could have scored, and again that's hindsight because center fielder came up throwing, throws a line drive, throws a dart in, and it hits the mound and slows down. If you send the runner, no matter how far it is, he would have scored. But again, hindsight.
Yeah.
Not that would have mattered. It would have made it 4-3, and you still had 2 runners on with 2 outs. Now,
Could have made a difference.
right? It always pitchers.
Yeah.
But the same pressure of pitching with the bases loaded is what it is with 2 outs, 2 on and 2 outs. Not really the issue. You're not really pitching to stop the runner at third. You're really pitching to stop the runner at second. Like that's you're thinking. But the opportunity was there, and they put them in a position where 1 at bat late in the game could have tied the game or put them ahead. That's all you want as a coach. That you're in a position to finish the game.
Yeah.
They didn't. Okay. We're told that the attendance was 4,700. Can you look up the capacity of Oklahoma State's stadium? Because
I'll attempt.
yeah, because I'd like to know how the Huskers traveled. That is a thing to be sure to ask Nick and Austin. Nebraska, here's the thing. They gave up 14 hits today.
3,500.
3,500?
That's what this says. O'Brien Stadium.
So maybe the standing room only of 1,200?
Yeah.
What's the minimum number for you to be able to host a regional?
I mean,
that seems like a low number to me.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was, right? O'Brien Stadium. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oklahoma
O'Brien
State.
Stadium.
Yeah. It says 3,500.
And the official attendance
It
announced.
says expandable to 8,000.
Okay.
Capacity 3,500. Okay.
So
There we go.
So I would imagine it's kind of like Haymarket, that seat capacity versus the berm.
Yeah. It
Like
says
the berm expands your numbers. So
yeah. Record attendance 8,230.
okay, so there's room. And I would also imagine that tomorrow there's more Husker fans in Stillwater than there were today. And you can't be, although again, you don't know who you're playing. Oklahoma State put up strike that. Florida put up 14 hits today. They left 8 runners they left 12 runners in scoring position.
Really?
So Florida didn't help their own cause. Nebraska only had 8 left on base. They had 8 hits, got 2 runs out of it, and left 8 on base. And the number that really they struck out, they had 9 strikeouts to Florida's 8. And that's surprising because that's Florida's number 2 pitcher. And that's one you got to get, or that's you want to get. But here's the thing: for teams that are playing in the tournament, it doesn't matter. I never in tournament play, I didn't care who I was facing. I had to circle the team into playing how I want them to play. Like that's really the job. So if you're getting a district tournament where your season's on the line, or a regional tournament or state tournament, one, you get caught up in the chess play, the mental chess play.
Yeah.
But that's a loser's mentality as far as I'm concerned. You have to get in and say, listen, we're going to stay true to what we do and who we are. If we're a run the base team, we're going to run the bases.
Yeah.
If we're a power team, we need to get people on base. Now listen, Oklahoma hit bombs, but they still left 12 runners on base.
Yeah.
So there's that part of it. I do want to give credit because they didn't put any extra anybody else on base. This was a high control day, so no walks, fine. And Niagara is a 38-15 team.
Yeah.
We know that Oklahoma State is legitimate, but Niagara, first of all, I don't think that we can assume that Oklahoma State cruises today. They may, but a team that is 38-15,
you're not counting them out.
No, they have a lot of answers, and I wanted to pull up their stat sheet just to go through it because I thought, listen, wouldn't it be really interesting if it was Florida and Niagara in the winners bracket tomorrow?
It would be.
Here's what Niagara brings to the table. And they also have a stud hitter who hit 402. Their leading hitter hit 402.
Jeez.
Second leading hitter hit 340, 328, 316, 309. Yeah, they've got some bangers. They've got some hitters. The 402 hitter led them with 16 home runs. And ready for this?
I'm ready.
67 RBI.
Wow. 67.
67 RBI.
6-7.
57 runs in 214 at bats.
So I mean you're saying they got a chance. You're saying they got a decent chance against.
That's a number, bruh. Their number 2 RBI. They had two players at 47 and 45 RBI.
Wow, that's a lot,
right? So then you understand that. Okay, so they can put runs on the board. Then from a pitching standpoint, they have their ace is Zach Cameron. Zach Cameron was 8-1 with an ERA of 2.86. 2.86. 54 strikeouts in 55 innings. Got some juice to it.
Yeah.
54 to 19 strikeout and walk ratio.
Wow.
So you have a guy, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Your second best pitcher. You ready for this? 9-1. Second best pitcher is 9-1. 10 starts, 9-1. Wow, these are numbers. But he had 39 strikeouts to 20 walks. 20 walks all year. So it doesn't matter what level you play at. How you play the game matters.
Yeah.
Don't give extra outs. Don't give it extra at bats. Don't do that. Nebraska has an opportunity here, but I like the fact that we wouldn't be surprised. Like, we're gonna watch.
Oh yeah,
Niagara and Oklahoma. Yeah, right.
Even if you know Nebraska, even if Nebraska would get, all their pitchers would be out and they have so many injuries, you'd still watch. Even if you absolutely know they're gonna lose, you're still probably gonna watch. What? So I want to ask: this was a tough loss today against Florida.
Yep.
But Nebraska also started the Big Ten tournament off with the tough loss to Ohio State. I know there's a lot of Husker fans that were not happy after that game. Some not happy after this game. How are you feeling better about the team after this game versus after the Ohio State game?
Well, what we know now.
Yeah.
We know now that Nebraska can refigure it out.
Yeah.
We know that they can pile together and put together a win streak. And listen, in this type of tournament play, you got to beat whoever shows up tomorrow.
Yep.
Win one game, and then play another one. If you don't win tomorrow, it doesn't really matter. Season's over. So it's all hands on deck for everybody. Offensively, what you hope is that whoever else is in the losers bracket, Nebraska, I think we lived their last NCAA tournament run. They had to scrap. I believe they had to scrap. You took an early loss. Oklahoma State has scored 2 runs in the first inning already. So it's 2-0 Oklahoma State. They have 2 on, 1 out, first inning. So 4 of the first 5 run base hitters, batters have gotten on base. 2 have scored, 2 are on base. And now they're having a conversation. Listen, the bullpen, they literally just sent 4 arms down to the bullpen.
Wow.
And there's always that. This is where it gets weird for me. You should probably already know who, if this happens, who your guy is. When you send 4 people down the bullpen, you're disrupting everything. Because that couldn't have been the plan. First inning, we don't know. We don't know who we're going to go to, and then everybody go warm up. So, wow. That's tough business. That's tough business. Some of the other scores, and again, this is the beauty of this. I'm watching. So I've got 4 games going on at the same time, and yes, full disclosure, fully distracted. My VCU Rams are playing Wake Forest at the very same time, and they lead Wake Forest 1-0 in the 5th inning. So. The battling Rams.
There it is.
VCU. I'm kind of loving that a little bit.
We got like 30 seconds till we got it.
Oh, yeah. No, we got it all set up. So Nick and Austin from Stillwater, they can let you know what's going on, kind of the vibe of the stadium, what it was like, and then what they expect tomorrow, 1 o'clock. Also, remember to ask them their schedule. Let them know, like, when do they want to go? Are they going to review? They're going to pre-record. What are they going to do?
Yeah,
So,
we'll figure that all out.
So hopefully tomorrow we'll have better news about the Huskers. But Nick and Austin from Stillwater when we come back from the break here on 93.7 The Ticket weeknights. Ben running the mothership. He'll get us through the night and tomorrow.
All right.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Ready to add a dash of Southern flavor to your week? At Wings and Rings, their brand new Southern fried wings have arrived for a limited time. Indulge in the irresistible goodness of large, traditional bone-in wings coated in a crispy beer batter and fried to perfection. Try them with hot honey or any other sauces. And for those busy summer days coming up, look no further than their Southern Fried Wings Family Bundle. Wings and Rings, 2 Lincoln locations on O Street or Village Lane.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh yeah, this is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
School tells you all about the 4 seasons. Spring, summer, and so on. And then there's a way we really tell what time of year it is. Sports seasons, football season, baseball season, or even off season. Well, what's the chocolate season? Well, it's now, of course. And now And now, and always, whether you're looking for a caffeinated pick-me-up on the way to work, a little snack on the way home, or you need the perfect gift that's sure to be appreciated, it's time for the chocolate season, y'all. 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead at thechocolatseason.com. See you there.
At Doane University, we build leaders, and that means your success and achievements come first.
At Doane University, your future is uniquely yours, and our world-class liberal arts education is just the beginning.
We invite you to schedule your campus visit and experience why Doane University will start you on your journey to your future career.
Learn more by scheduling your personal campus visit today at doane.edu/visit. See you soon.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Hamann Jewelry, here to drop some knowledge bombs on how to wow your woman. Size matters, but not the way you're thinking, guys. Make sure you know her ring size before you even think about popping the question. If you aren't a surprise kind of guy, ask her. I bet she knows her size. If you are a surprise kind of guy, bring in a piece and we can get close to the right size. We will make it perfect for her when the time is right. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Hamann Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. You're listening to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Austin, you have to unmute your mic. I can't unmute it for you.
Okay, hopefully this works. I was muted before and it worked. So you hearing me now?
Yes, I believe I can hear you now. Awesome.
Excellent.
Austin, how are you?
Doing great, Ben. It's good to be with you from Stillwater. Disappointing result for the Huskers as they lose it 5-2. Nick is going to be hopping on here very shortly to give his thoughts on the game. We got a lot of sponsors to thank here for our trip to Stillwater, starting with Sandhills Global. They're hiring. Find your fit today in their fast-paced growing culture in Lincoln at sandhills.jobs, as well as Mullen Motors. Summer is here. Don't settle for road trips in your rundown clunker. Head to Mullen Motors to find your new ride for this year and for years to come. Just north of 48th and Layton in Lincoln. And then, of course, Blur Events. The road to the College World Series starts now, and the best party for the CWS is at the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha from June 14th to the 22nd. Get ready for the best tailgating experience you'll find anywhere. It's just 2 blocks south of the stadium. Purchase tickets at blurevents.com. If you have thoughts on the game, listeners, let us know. 402-464-5685. Comment section is up for you as well. Big thanks to Sartor Hamann Jewelers for our live video stream. Ben, let's just start with this before Nick gets in. I don't want to steal too much of his thunder, but what a venue. What an environment. I don't know if you've ever made the trip down to Stillwater, but you can tell the level of investment in Big 12 baseball. It is an A1 baseball facility. It's brick on the outside. It's a really neat environment. And Nick and I actually headed back so we could get this post game in. But I'll just say Haymarket Park is really nice. It is. It's not a lot wrong with Haymarket Park. Sure, it could maybe use some updating here or there, but I think Nebraska has done a good job with what they have at Haymarket Park. But O'Brate Stadium really is a bright, shiny toy. I think for Big 12 baseball. The brick is nice. It's perfectly manicured. And really, I think the orange works. It's kind of weird. I'm not a big color orange guy, but the orange and black is sleek. Unfortunately, the orange worked out better for Florida, who also has orange among their primary colors. But Ben, let's just start with you watching the game on in the background during Old School. What were your takeaways?
Well, definitely, numbers that jump out, the number left on base, I believe it was 8. I'm pretty sure they had 8 people left on base, and then just not getting enough strikeouts. Those are my 2 takeaways, because you have a team like Florida that can, hit so well. You got to be able to get more strikeouts. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure Florida, they had 12 left. Did they have 12 left on base? also had a Watt. So I mean, it was just one of those days where if one more thing goes Nebraska's way, this could have been a completely different game. You know, they had bases loaded, 1 out. Was that bottom of the 6th?
In the 8th inning.
That was 8th inning. Yep. See, I was watching the background. Couldn't hard to remember all that. But yeah, I mean, that was tough. I mean, that's going to be the inning that everyone looks at. But there was a lot of small minor things that I'll let Nick take it away though, because he just joined the stream. Nick, hi, how are you?
We'll give him a sec to get in and get set up. But yeah, I mean the 12 left on base for Florida, it makes me think that this could have gotten out of hand even more for Nebraska, right? It really could have very easily. You look at that 8th inning, Nick, as we're just kind of breaking down kind of big picture here, what went right, what went wrong for Nebraska. Let's start with the things that went right. You know, Gabe Swanson continued his hot streak with that solo home run. But best of all, I think, was that first inning, right? Brett Sears wasn't sharp in the early going. Florida made some really solid contact. He was able to limit the damage, though, to just that 1 run in the first inning. And then Nebraska got it right back. After that first inning, I think a lot of Husker fans were feeling pretty good. Like, hey, you took a punch. You stood up to it. You took it on the chin, but it didn't knock you down. And then you punched right back. That first inning, though, it was a good response, but also a missed opportunity, as with 2 outs, you leave 2 runners in scoring position. So a good response, but ultimately not a good enough response.
Yeah, I think when I was thinking back just on my way up to my room and stuff about that first inning specifically, it kind of played into the way that Nebraska talked about previously that it would, right? We knew that Florida was going to threaten and they were going to be able to, especially that top of the first, right? It's a team that technically is a lower seed, right? They want to come out, they want to show that they're ready to go and stuff. In Nebraska, I'm sure there was some nerves and there was some anxiousness, and understandably so. I thought Brett Sears did a really good job of doing basically exactly what he said he was going to do. And that was work out of jams, limit free passes. And did they get to him one time? Yeah, he allowed a solo shot, kind of like he predicted that Florida would have against him. And I thought that somewhat played into the pocket, into the lap of Nebraska. Not necessarily a good thing. I'm not saying you'd rather give up a run rather than not give up a run in that first inning. But ultimately, I told you, Austin, on the way back to our great city of Cushing, Oklahoma, I said, I thought Nebraska was okay. I thought that they were okay in that first inning, especially. They responded. You're absolutely right. You would have probably liked to get more. You felt like you left some out there. But ultimately, at the end of it all, I thought, okay, now the nerves, the anxiousness has settled down. Nebraska's settled in, both not only just on the mound, but also in the box. And not only did Sears not really feel or seem like he was having his best stuff or that comfortable, but also Nebraska had some really disappointing at-bats in some key situations throughout the middle innings.
And it wasn't even the fact that they were key situations all the time. It's that Nebraska didn't create key situations. You score in the first inning, you get the Gabe Swanson solo home run in the 6th inning, and then that 8th inning attempted rally that you don't push any runs across in. Nebraska went 4 innings without really threatening, without 2 outs. Will Bolt mentioned that in his postgame preference. You and I were going back and forth about it. Nebraska didn't get a leadoff runner on all day. If you tell me the final score is 5-2, that would have told me before the game that Brett Sears was probably pretty lights out. The bullpen came in, gave a couple strong innings, and that Nebraska was able to get to Liam Peterson early, right? To get guys on base, to play their small ball, bunt him over, hit a run-scoring single to get him in, and Nebraska probably scored in multiple innings. But that wasn't all the case. Outside of the 1st and 8th innings, it was rare to see Nebraska with 2 guys on base.
Yeah. Well, and when they did have somebody on base, we talked about it, right? It was a lot of times 2 outs, base knock, 2 out walks, and give credit to Florida because they were able to manage those. Give credit to Liam Peterson as a freshman up there to be able to manage the game as well as he did, manage the tempo. Nebraska's running game on the base paths
was almost non-existent. I think they stole one base, and it was from Rhett Stokes, I believe, if I remember correctly. Rhett was the one that stole. Dylan Carey got tagged out to end an inning. I just think that, like, give credit to Liam Peterson when it's all said and done. But yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, Austin. It was so frustrating because Nebraska, they needed the lineup to set up perfectly when they were going to make a run. And it felt like there were times where hitters, 6, 7, and 8 in the lineup were not really productive for you today. They didn't have the right approach at the plate, unfortunately. And so then it's, you have a situation where you have a 2-out walk. Well, yeah, you can pass the baton, pass it down the line. But at the end of the day, Nebraska doesn't usually hit well with 2 outs and doesn't always hit well with runners in scoring position or runners on base. And that was basically the bugaboo today. Nebraska leaves 8 guys on base today. You just feel like Nebraska left a lot of opportunities out there. And I think that's what maybe bothers the fans so much, is because you look at that game and you look at it and say, okay, well, defensively, it was a relatively pretty well-played ball game. But when it mattered most, and especially like in the 8th inning, there was just some, whether it's discipline, whether it's decision-making, you just feel like Nebraska let that one slip away, or at least let an opportunity at making it go to extras or having it a 1-run game in the bottom of the 9th. Like, you missed those opportunities, I think. And that's what I think stings a lot of folks after you watch that game and now realize, okay, you got to win out. You got to win. You're in the same exact spot as you were after Tuesday's loss to Ohio State. Just this time, your season's on the line, not just the Big Ten tournament appearances.
When it comes to approach, it's hard to single one guy out. There were disappointing lineups up and down the lineup throughout the game, but one player had 2 at-bats back-to-back in the 3rd and 5th inning that really stood out to me, and that's Josh Caron, right? He's been one of Nebraska's best hitters all year, one of the best players all year, has grown into a leadership role, and had an outstanding week at the Big Ten tournament. But, Nick, in back-to-back at-bats, he swung at 2-0 sliders that he didn't have a chance at reaching. That, to me, was a guy that was pressing too much, right? That wanted to keep his hot streak going, trying to do too much in situations where there wasn't necessarily much to do. One swing wasn't going to change the game. Maybe, Josh Caron's approach in swinging it 2-0 maybe got a little too aggressive. Maybe that bled over to the rest of the team at some points.
Yeah, I think you're right. I look at, I'm trying to look back. Let's see. Okay, so it's this one. It happened in the bottom of the 5th with Josh Caron, specifically, the one I'm thinking about. And we could go up and down the lineup and pick out guys and pick out specific at-bats. And I think I it's not that I want to. I want to just point stuff out so that it makes the listeners know, okay, these guys actually have some sort of substance to what they're talking about. Josh Caron, it happened in the bottom of the 5th inning. Nebraska at this point's down 3-1. Neely was on the mound, I believe, or no, potentially Liam Peterson. Yeah, Liam Peterson was still on the mound because he didn't get taken out until Gabe Swanson's home run in the bottom of the 6th. And this goes back to, you have 9, 1, and 2 up. You ground out to shortstop with the leadoff hitter. Overbeek flies out to left field. That was one that was against or tailing towards the line that I thought was going to be able to tail enough to get down, but it ended up not. Then with 2 outs, Case Sanderson draws a 4-pitch walk, and then Josh Caron's at-bat starts with 2 balls way out of the zone. And I remember thinking to myself, at this point, it was still 3-1, obviously. I was thinking to myself, this is where we see Liam Peterson fall off the tracks. This is where we see the wheels start to slowly come undone. Because what we knew statistically from Liam Peterson is that this is a guy that doesn't go deep into games, doesn't usually stick with the effective stuff, doesn't have effective stuff stick around in his arsenal for a substantial amount of time. And it almost just felt like at that point, too, Nebraska had the momentum starting to shift, right? Sears closed out relatively successful. Christo came in, slammed the door shut right at the start. He got into a little bit of trouble, got some barrels hit against him pretty hard pitches, but was able to get out of it and left runners on base. And so, Nebraska had this chance to really capture the momentum, But then when it's 2-0 on Josh Caron, there's a difference between having a productive approach and not thinking and trying to be the hero. Josh Caron also needs to realize that, especially after his incredible performance in Omaha last weekend, you're going to be pitched to differently than you did beforehand. And this also isn't the Big Ten Conference. These are guys that have better arms, more control of pitches, more pitches that they control as well. And we saw that with he swings at a 2-0 curveball, and he swings or a 2-0 slide or whatever the off speed was. I can't remember. And so he swings away at that. Well, now instead of it being 7 straight balls and Caron has 3-0 count, probably a red light at that case, especially. And guess what? Nebraska's hottest hitter not in the hole anymore, but on deck, and you have your cleanup hitter next up. Instead of that, it's 2-1. Liam Peterson gets a little bit of renewed confidence and gets you to ground out on the next pitch. It's those types of things that when you're in a one-run ball game, and obviously hindsight's 2020, because if he would have hit a home run, we would have said, wow, great job having a productive approach. But those are the things that when it doesn't work out, you can kind of point to and say that might have played into being a difference in that junction in the ball game.
The very next inning, so Gabe Swanson hits his home run. He cuts it to 3-2. That's all Nebraska gets. Then in the 7th, Drew Christo comes back out and fires a 12-pitch 1-2-3 top of the 7th inning. Yeah. You went downstairs. You're like, okay, if Nebraska's going to do something, this is the moment. I think we could all feel it. The crowd was back into it. Things had started swinging back Nebraska's way. But then Florida gets Nebraska to go down 1-2-3. It was 8-9-1 that was due up, right? Yeah. If that's 2-3-4 due up, shoot, 3-4-5, 4-5-6, you feel better maybe about Nebraska's chances. But the hope was that, hey, can Riley Silva have a good at bat and get on base? Rhett Stokes played some pretty good baseball today. You feel good about him in that spot. And then the lineup turns over. But this is where you can either knock Nebraska for it, or you can credit Florida. And I think there's some of both, right? Riley Silva didn't have a good at bat there in that 7th inning. But also I think credit Florida for staying composed, right? We talked about that's a team that's been on this stage. Coach O'Sullivan didn't let it get out of hand. He came out of the dugout at good points. He pressed the right buttons for the right guys, right situations on the mound. To me, even though Nebraska had a chance to win the game in the 8th inning, or at least go ahead and give themselves a shot to just get 3 outs and win in the 8th inning, so much buzz left the crowd that if Nebraska had what happened in the 8th inning happen in the 7th inning, you feel better about their chances, I think, instead of having to make your own juice again in that 8th inning.
One, I think another part of that Riley Silva at bat too was he laid a really nice bunt down the first base line, but also, like, is that all he can give you?
Yeah.
And in that moment of the game, I get, like, you want to create a spark, but the scout is out on Riley Silva now. And I think Florida did a really good job. They adjusted the defense, obviously. They shifted a little bit to where the first baseman was playing in. You saw it for a moment where it was, obviously where the first baseman wanted to go grab that baseball, but then instead backed off. Caglianone was able to let the pitcher take over, and he chucked it over to first in time. And so, like, that kind of took the wind out of the sails because everybody in the stadium knew it was coming. And yet it felt like it was so far away from being productive. And what I mean by that is he laid down a perfect bunt in between the grass and the foul line, right down that first base line. The third baseman was heavily played in, so he can't bunt it down the third base line. You can't place a bunt better. Give credit to Riley Silva in that case, but yet he still didn't get on base. Still another leadoff hitter that did not occupy first base for Nebraska. And so now you're looking at Rhett Stokes saying, okay, create your own energy. Instead of having one of the best base stealers in the country, or base runners just in general in the country on first base with nobody out, you have your 9-hole hitter up with 1 out who has 1 home run on the season. And you can't create, base hits are great, but in a game like today, it felt like Nebraska needed a big hit. And it felt like the timely at-bats, it was always 6 through 9 hole guys that were up to hit. And frankly, Tyler Stone had a disappointing day at designated hitter. I get that you want like the lefty righty matchup. I get that. And you're playing the statistical advantages, but also I think Cole Evans would probably be as good of a choice there too. Dylan Carey just unfortunately just has had a tough year, right? Has over almost 60 strikeouts and not that many hits. And it's just been a disappointing year, I think, for the 6, 7, 8 guys, because as much as we talk about Nebraska struggling to find a Sunday guy consistently, they've struggled to really find that part of the order, the 6, 7, 8, which is a pretty crucial part of it. Can they set the table for the top half of the order? Unfortunately, or bring in the top half of the order. They just haven't.
They have not. Let's go to break. I know we have plenty more to talk about. Get a break in here before the top of the hour. Don't go anywhere. We will keep breaking down Nebraska's 5-2 loss to Florida from Stillwater when we get back.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Unearth the secret to long-lasting tires at Treads Central Tire Pros, a league apart in commitment, service, and expertise. This isn't just about rubber meeting the road, but trust, safety, and surety converging in perfect harmony. This is where expectations are exceeded every time. Make your appointment today at Treads Central Tire Pros, just south of Cortland on Highway 77, or visit our website to explore our services. Remember, when it comes to tires, choose Treads Central Tire Pros because we tread differently.
At Doane University, we build leaders, and that means your success and achievements come first.
At Doane University, your future is uniquely yours, and our world-class liberal arts education is just the beginning.
We invite you to schedule your campus visit and experience why Doane University will start you on your journey to your future career.
Learn more by scheduling your personal campus visit today at doane.edu/visit. See you soon.
Hey Nebraska! Register today for the 40th annual Cornhusker State Games, taking place July 11th through the 21st in Lincoln, Omaha, and other Nebraska communities. The Cornhusker State Games features 70 sports for athletes of all ages and abilities. Price increases are approaching, so register early and save. For details, go to cornhuskerstategames.com. If you've experienced a sports injury, joint or back pain, trust your care to Nebraska Orthopedic Center, a proud platinum partner of the Cornhusker State Games.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Hello? Believe it or not, old phones are one of the most common pain points in offices today. Many of these phones are beyond repair because parts aren't available to fix outdated devices. Whether it's a traditional phone system or cloud-based VoIP technology, Hamilton Business Phones can help upgrade your connection. We make it easy to sync your office phone with yourself for seamless call handling, no matter where you work. If your current office phone can't do this, you deserve better. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Whether you're looking for a place to stay for a concert at PBA, a Nebraska home game, or just a night on the town, the Courtyard Lincoln Downtown Haymarket is the place for you. Enjoy an evening at one of many restaurants or bars within a short walking distance. Business travelers at the hotel will enjoy free high-speed internet access, a 24-hour business center, and large in-room workstations. And check out the Bistro, where you'll enjoy healthier food and beverage options, as well as high-tech conveniences. Book your room today at the Courtyard Lincoln Downtown Haymarket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and our annual spring sales event is now underway. We have absolutely huge savings right now at Coppell. New Sierras and new Silverados have a double whammy. Choose from APR starting at 1.9% or discounts over $9,000. Yes, that's right, 1.9% APR or discounts of over $9,000. So please take that short money-saving drive down 144th Street just south of the interstate, or check us out online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did. All deals with approved credit.
Several irrigation contractors in Lincoln go out of business every year, leaving sprinkler system orphans, begging for service. The folks at Judson Irrigation shed a tear for these little fellas. They've been coddling these orphans for more than 40 years. From redesign, repairing, replacing, and restoring, remember the Judson Irrigation Orphanage.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage, 402-420-6277, or judsonirrigation.com.
24/7 threat monitoring, expert tech support, streamlined communications. Allo has a solution for that. Protect your business with Allo Business. Comprehensive firewall security, Microsoft Teams voice integrated communications, cybersecurity and IT support managed by experts. From productivity to peace of mind, Allo has a solution for that. Allo means business. Protect your business by visiting allofiber.com/business.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Nick Sainert, Austin Norman breaking down Nebraska's unfortunate 5-2 loss to the number 3 seed Florida Gators earlier today. Austin and I back at our hotels now here down in Oklahoma, breaking it down. Ben back in our 93.7 The Ticket studios. Appreciate DP for letting us hop on, take over his airspace, and talk about what we're feeling, what our thoughts are down here in Oklahoma. Thanks to Mullen Motors, Blur Events, Sandhills Global for their support as always, as well as our other sponsors that are involved that we'll get to in a second. Nebraska awaits the loser of Niagara and Oklahoma State tomorrow. They play at 1 p.m. We'll have pregame coverage for you on 93.7 The Ticket from 12 to 1 tomorrow as well. And it looks like Nebraska is going to face off against Niagara. Oklahoma State in the third inning has a 7-0 lead on Niagara, the team from Lewiston, New York. All right, Austin, I guess short segment here. So I just kind of want to talk about it real quick, that Will Bolt, we talked about what this means for him, right? I think it's so important for Nebraska to once again show the resiliency. And they mentioned that in the post-game press conference, that somebody asked him, I can't remember who it was in the press conference room, about, all right, this is the same spot you were in a little over a week ago. And, you know, what did you learn that week that can be, you know, applied to this week? And I think Gabe Swanson said it's something that's been kind of instilled in us throughout the entire season. This has been a season of roller coaster, right? Mm-hmm. It's been up and down. You've had success on the weekends, not so much on the midweek games. Nebraska, I think, is going to be okay tomorrow. It's how much are they able to keep in the tank and most importantly in the bullpen if they truly can make a run at this regional.
That's absolutely the question. You feel good that you have Mason McConaughey on full rest, ready to go. He's got to be good, right? What Nebraska got from Brett Sears tonight was okay, but Nebraska's going to need more than that tomorrow. Again, even if it's Niagara, again, that's another conference champion, pretty darn good contact hitting team. Nebraska has to, again, walk that fine line on the pitching side of how much do we ask of our starter? How much can we get from our starter? how many guys is it that we can save? How many do we need to throw? Because you said it last segment, your back's against the wall for your season. You still have a chance, right? You're not done yet. Today's disappointing. It feels bad, all of that. But if you lose tomorrow, you're done. Where I feel better about this team is because, like you said, they have shown that resilience all year. It's hard to deny that. But think about the last time that Nebraska was in this regional, back in 2019. They wrapped up a game against Oklahoma State just before midnight, I'm pretty sure is what it was, and then had to turn around and play again at 11 o'clock the next morning and got dismantled, picked apart by UConn. Nebraska has time, right? Even Niagara will too. They'll wrap this game up, again, assuming Oklahoma State wins and holds on. This game will wrap up probably 9:30, 10 o'clock, I would guess, at the latest. They'll be home. They'll have a night of rest ahead of them and plenty of time to sleep, get to the ballpark, and be good. It's a full day of turnaround. You have your number 2 guy going for Nebraska who you feel really good about. And I know we got a lot to get to on the pitching front, so I'll save my thoughts for next segment with that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about pitching coming up in the next conversation. We're going to go until about 7:30 here on the post-game show. Plenty of reactions coming up. We do need to take another quick break, so that way we can get that legal ID in there, make sure we're applying or cooperating with all the FCC stuff. But once again, we'll give you an update on some scores from around the country. Nebraska falls 5-2 to the Florida Gators earlier today in Stillwater. So good stuff there. Nick Sander and Austin Norman with you. Ben back in our 93.7 The Ticket Studios. We'll come right back to wrap things up with one final 30-minute segment or so as we continue to break down Nebraska's opening round regional loss to the Florida Gators right here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Community means something different to everyone. But for me, it means cheering on those around you during the good times and helping them out during the tough times. I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I've been blessed with the support of my friends, family, coaches, and community throughout my life. When looking for a bank to call home, it was easy to choose Midwest Bank. I never feel like just another customer, and they're proud to support their communities. They love what they do, and it shows. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
Hey Nebraska! Register today for the 40th annual Cornhusker State Games, taking place July 11th through the 21st in Lincoln, Omaha, and other Nebraska communities. The Cornhusker State Games features 70 sports for athletes of all ages and abilities. Price increases are approaching, so register early and save. For details, go to cornhuskerstategames.com. Rehydrate, replenish, refuel with Gatorade, brought to you by Pepsi Cola of Lincoln, a proud partner of the Cornhusker State Games.
Spring sports are here and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Power Combo BOGO? Huh?
Yes, if you purchase an air conditioner, you receive a furnace completely free. At John Henry's, our professionals want to ensure you are comfortable in your home all year long, no matter what Nebraska has to throw at us. Call today to schedule your free estimate and learn more about the free furnace waiting for you. Give John Henry's a call today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Bagels and Joe is the perfect place for breakfast or lunch in April. Try their brand new cake batter cream cheese on any breakfast sandwich. And try the caramel latte, as 10% of proceeds from that drink will go to the Foundation for Lincoln Public Schools. 4 locations in Lincoln and 1 in Seward. Bagels and Joe.
Are you looking to get into the electrical construction industry or wanting a new scene? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Homeowners, is your yard in distress? Is your lawn being held hostage by stubborn and unruly weeds? Never fear, lawn lovers. Weedman is here. We'll rescue your lawn and restore its beautiful emerald green glory. The results of our expertly applied program are sure to impress the toughest of critics, your neighbors. Take that, Dale. Vanquish weeds and transform your lawn this year with Weedman Lawn Care. Get 50% off your first application. Go to weedman.com today. Terms and conditions apply. Go to weedman.com today.
It's officially one of the greatest weeks of the year on the sports calendar, Masters Week. Book your tee time today with friends, family, or coworkers at Double Eagle Golf inside the Kinetic Sports Complex on West O Street. Doors open at 10 a.m. from Thursday to Sunday, and they'll have food directly from Augusta National, like pimento cheese sandwiches, Georgia pecan caramel popcorn, and lots more. Plus specialty drinks to get you in the mood for the greatest golf tournament in the world. Book a bay today at doubleeagle.golf.
School tells you all about the 4 seasons: spring, summer, and so on. And then there's a way we really tell what time of year it is. Sports seasons: football season, baseball season, or even off season. Well, what's the chocolate season? Well, it's now, of course. And now, and always. Whether you're looking for a caffeinated pick-me-up on the way to work, a little snack on the way home, or you need the perfect gift that's sure to be appreciated, it's time for the chocolate season, y'all. 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead at thechocolatesseason.com. See you there.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
It's the best time of the year to order a new John Deere sprayer during Landmark Implement's Fast Start Early Order program. Leverage the industry's latest technology with See and Spray to target weeds in season in corn and soybeans and use less herbicide per acre. Utilize Exact Apply to save in chemical usage and prevent over-application. Now is the time to lock in the best price of the year during Landmark Implement's Fast Start Early Order program. Contact your local Landmark location for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
Attention all Wings fans. 89-cent wings are back on Tuesdays at Buffalo Wings and Rings in Lincoln. Enjoy the best wings in town for boneless or traditional at a price that makes the whole family happy. And now at the Williamsburg Village Wings and Rings, you can enjoy $1.50 tall boys in Bud Light, Coors Light, Busch Light, and Michelob Ultra every day after 7 p.m. and all day on Sundays. Get to Wings and Rings today and make sure to stop by on Tuesdays for 89-cent wings.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's a great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays, games of bowling, shoe rentals, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
You're listening to One-on-One with DP, sponsored by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
30 more minutes. Welcome back into the post-game breakdown of Nebraska's 5-2 loss in the opening round of the regional. Down here in Stillwater, Nick Sainert, Austin Norman with you in our various hotels. Some score updates from around the country. Currently, Illinois leads Indiana State 2-1 in the bottom of the fourth inning. Oral Roberts trails number 1 seed Oklahoma 1-0. In the number 1 overall regional bracket, number 1 Tennessee is tied with the 4 seed Northern Kentucky in the bottom of the third at 1 run apiece. There's another interesting one here that I wanted to get to. That's right, LIU, the 4 seed in the Chapel Hill Chapel Hill regional is on top of the number 1 seed North Carolina Tar Heels 3-2 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Texas has a comfortable 6-run lead over the Raging Cajuns of Louisiana, and VCU leads Wake Forest 1-0 going to the bottom of the 8th. That one is on ESPNU. Austin, I want to say thank you while we have a moment to all of our sponsors, our supporters, that are making these broadcasts and our trip possible. Obviously, it's the three main ones: Sandhills Global, Mullen Motors, and Blur Events. But also, we want to thank Nebraska Corn Board, the Members-Owned Credit Union, Allo Fiber, Select Plumbing, and Landmark Implement. All these folks making the trip down here possible, and so we appreciate them more than words can say. We have about 20 minutes left in our show here, and I definitely want to talk Nebraska baseball pitching, because when you look at the way that Nebraska's set up, right, and this is, if we want to spin it or talk about it in a positive way, I think this is an easy way to do so. Nebraska only used 2 pitchers today. And for the most part, Drew Christo was tough. There was one pitch where he probably should have done something different with it, and that's the home run in the 8th inning. 8th inning that he allowed. Even Brett Sears, though, figured out a way to pitch to contact. It wasn't pretty. He left a lot of guys on base, stranded a lot of Florida Gator base runners, and he still frankly gave Nebraska a chance to win and compete in a ball game when it was all said and done, because when Brett Sears left, it was a 3-1 ball game. I would say this going forward: Nebraska still has a fully ready to go Jalen Worthley, still has Kyle Perry in the gun and loaded. You still have Tucker Timmerman, who was warming up. We saw Ty Horn warming up at a moment. So Nebraska is still fully equipped. They only used 2 pitchers. It was a manageable loss for the most part, if there is such a thing, to where you're still set up relatively okay pitching depth-wise to make a run in this regional.
Right. Sears, it was a grind for him today, right? He wasn't dominant, and I don't know if we should be shocked by that, right? But he did end up finding a way. The one run in the first for Florida was a hanging breaking ball. He said in post-game he thought he had all his pitches working for him. Okay, maybe he had the feel for them, but I didn't think he was locating all that well. There was a lot up. And maybe some of that's a credit to Florida, because that's a big team full of grown men. Like, the size difference is something you and I talked about. Like, Florida gets the barrel to the ball very well. But I think, again, Brett Sears left some pitches up more than I think he would like to. But he found a way to limit the damage. Got grounded into double play, got strikeouts when he needed to, especially in those middle innings when Nebraska's offense was struggling. He found ways to induce weaker contact from Florida. Some of that is pitching around Jack Caglianone, 3 intentional walks issued to him, not all from Brett Sears. But in Nebraska, I don't have a problem with how they handled that. And then Christo was fine. Couple line drives. Stokes had a diving play. Carey had a diving play there in the 6th inning that Christo started. He was really good in the 7th. One mistake in the 8th, and then locked him down, held him in a 3-run deficit in the 9th. To use those 2 guys and those 2 guys only is big. Doesn't tax as many guys as possible. And now you can get creative, right? Heaven forbid something go off the rails early. It's Johnny Holstaff. Tomorrow's game 7. But the hope is that the offense, has its footing underneath it a little bit. That McConaughey settles into more of a rhythm than Sears was ever able to get into today. And for that reason, you're able to mix and match the bullpen pieces as he wants, instead of having to, call on fireman after fireman.
As I keep on diving into these statistics here and looking, couple things stood out to me in this conversation. And mainly that is that up until the 7th inning, the 7th inning was the first time that Florida didn't leave somebody on base. Or better yet, Nebraska didn't strand a runner on base for Florida, right? In whatever way that was, whether it was an inning-ending double play, whether it was a strikeout, whatever the case may be, the 1st inning, Florida left 1 on. In the 2nd inning, and in the 3rd inning, and in the 4th inning, you left 2 runners on base. In the 5th inning, 2 left on base for Florida. In the 6th, 2 left on base for Florida. Nebraska was dodging bullets every single inning. And I made the comment to you, Austin, and I'll say it publicly here, of like, today was the perfect example, because Nebraska still was in the game in the 7th inning and 8th inning. This was the perfect example of, if you pump strikes at this level, you're going to have a chance. Nebraska did that against one of the best offensive hitting or offensive teams in the country, one of the best slugging percentage teams in the country. And they still found themselves, and at a ballpark that felt like a wiffle ball field, you still were in a spot late in the game to compete. Imagine what you can do that if you do that consistently in the Big Ten Conference. You're not facing teams that look or approach or hit or just overall play like Florida. You're not. If Nebraska can, this is obviously a bigger picture conversation for like next regular season. If you pump strikes at this level, you're going to be successful. And it's all kind of coming full circle because Nebraska pumped strikes today. Maybe got away with a couple of pitches, certainly. But I think you're going to do that at this level. You're going to be able to get away with a couple of things at this level. But then also, we saw in the regular season when Nebraska didn't do that, that's when they had the blow-ups. And that does not play into Nebraska's favor.
It absolutely doesn't. If you look at the final lines, Florida threw strikes on 63% of its pitches. Nebraska was at a 70% strike rate, 71%. That's much better than Florida was. Liam Peterson exited the game on called strikes and called balls, basically 50-50. But his line ends up looking comparable to, if not better than Brett Sears, because he was effectively wild, right? Yes, Nebraska threw more strikes, but Florida knew that was Nebraska's strategy. If you're going to be a strike-throwing team, you have to be able to paint the corners, induce the type of contact that you want to on a consistent basis. Because, Nebraska threw more strikes. The only walks they issued were the intentional ones to Caglianone, and then the one hit by pitch and the one that got called back. But Nebraska might have thrown too many strikes. Now it's a team with a good approach, but also a team that if you pitch them backwards, you know how much they love the extra base hit and especially the long ball. Can you get them trying to swing out of their shoes by pitching them backward, by being out of the zone and stealing a strike on a pitch they didn't want to swing out that you fooled them with? We saw Florida pitch backward a few times. You mentioned the Karen at bat, the Stone at bat here and there. Columbus, they pitched backwards a couple times as well. So yes, generally speaking, in the Big Ten, that 70% strike rate, if you can get that even up to 73, 74, maybe 75%, the weather is colder. The ballparks don't play as small as today did. The athletes and the hitters just aren't the same on a consistent basis. So again, Nebraska brought the Big Ten formula to this game. And it could have worked out for them because Nebraska had the opportunity to put more than 2 runs on the board. I don't really necessarily fully fault the pitching staff for this one in really their first test in months against a lineup of this caliber.
Certainly not. And I think that's a good segue to this next point of that. You brought up Liam Peterson, effectively wild. And I think everybody has their own definition of that. But we talked about coming into this game, Florida's offense, the way that they had played this season, according to the numbers, was not sustainable. Now, on the flip side, Nebraska's, they strike out a lot, certainly, but they also do some other little things really well, Nebraska does, to keep them and win games. Nebraska today looked like what we expected Florida to be, an all-or-nothing type of offense. And you look at it, and I just look up and down this lineup right here. And there were 2 guys today that did not strike out, Gabe Swanson and Rhett Stokes. Everybody else in your lineup, outside of the pinch hitter in the 9th inning and Clay Bradford, everybody else in your lineup struck out at least once. Overbeek, Sanderson, Karen, Columbus, and Silva all struck out once. Stone, Carey, 2 Ks apiece for them. That's a third of your outs. 9 of your 27 outs of the ball game came via the strikeout from a guy that was not effectively striking out guys all season long. That is where, once again, he's not blowing you by with a 98-mile-per-hour fastball and then breaking off a 93-mile-an-hour slider with movement. You can catch up to velocity. It is the discipline at the plate, or lack thereof, for Nebraska baseball in today's game that lost them opportunities at competing more so in today's game.
And to be fair, Florida struck out 8 times as well and left more runners on base than Nebraska did. But Nebraska, we obviously dwell on their mistakes and their issues more here because the margin for error is so slim, right? Florida can make up for mistakes with the long ball. Nebraska can. If Nebraska isn't going to have the approach in the stadium of, okay, let me preface this by saying, don't change your game plan just for the stadium. Don't give in to the allure of, hey, it's a smaller field, the air is thinner up here, the ball's going to carry more. There was really no wind at all today. I think what Florida did was just, natural park effects, and it's all legit. But Nebraska didn't lift the ball in the air as consistently, which, okay, if that's your approach, that's fine. But then you have to be disciplined and take your walks. You have to know what your counts are. You have to find these pitches, and you have to put the ball in play. Yeah, Florida's the 13th best team in terms of fielding percentage in the country, but they're human too. They will make mistakes if you put pressure on them. Nebraska just didn't do enough of that consistently, and especially not in the biggest moments of the game.
Yeah, and it was unfortunate, right? Because you can go down and we could pick apart something from Josh Overbeek's at bats and Karen's at bats and Stone and Carey and Silva and Rhett Stokes. Like, we could pick apart things. I thought that Nebraska, unfortunately, there was a lot of instances where just at the plate specifically took themselves out of a chance to make a play or to make a big hit or at least do their job. We know that Will Bolt said before the game yesterday in there, he's like, we can't – one of the most important pieces of tomorrow's game, which is today's game, is going to be the ability to swing at the right pitches. And Nebraska today just didn't. Florida, like you said, they're able to get away with some stuff because the margin for error is a little, you can mess up or you can make a mistake and you have Caglione or you have whoever you want to throw out there that has a career day against Nebraska. That's just not Nebraska. That's not Nebraska's style. We've talked so in depth about their style and the way that they want to play the game. And I think the way that their roster is built to play, because I also think that from like the eye test, and Austin, correct me if I'm wrong, we walked into the ballpark and you can just tell, but when the guys line up across the foul line for the national anthem, you can tell which one is an SEC school and which one invests hundreds of thousands of dollars every single year into strength and conditioning programs for baseball, nutrition for baseball. They also have a recruiting hotbed. Like, you can tell right away just from the size, both of height and just bulk, forearm size, shoulders, just the broadness. You can tell. And Nebraska's guys are built really, really well. Like, they have good size to them for what they play. But at the end of the day, man, when Rhett Stokes is standing next to Jack Caglianone or whoever is standing next to whoever for Florida, you can tell that there's a disparity there.
To that point, TJ Altimore on Twitter put out a tweet before the tournament started that I thought was really interesting. Baseball and softball, biggest budgets and attendance. This is for baseball expenditures. So Florida spends $6.91 million on baseball. At least that's what it was last year. Their average attendance is 6,100. Okay, let's flip that over to Nebraska. You do have to go down a ways, but Nebraska averages, just under 1,000 fewer fans than Florida in a colder weather climate, right? With a lot of spring sports going on as well at Florida and Nebraska both. But Nebraska spends basically half of what Florida does at $3.5 million. So Florida's up at almost $7 million. Nebraska spends $3.5 million. And I'm not saying $3.5 million is the difference. You got to find it somewhere, right? Money isn't necessarily fake, right? You only have so much. It's finite. It's tangible and all that. But you can just see the difference in athlete up and down the lineup consistently in their size. But if that's going to be the case, if Nebraska is going to have to be a developmental program more so than a talent hotbed sort of program, those guys have to maximize foot on the gas, pedal to the metal every at bat. Like you said, you can't afford to give 9 at bats away. You can't afford to go 0 for 9 in getting your leadoff guy on against, yes, a team in Florida that underperformed based on their record. That's not a vintage Florida team. But Nick, I walk away from this game against Florida in a very similar mindset to the way I walked away from Nebraska, Texas A&M in the men's basketball tournament. This game didn't have to end this way. It didn't have to go this way. I don't think we were bashing Florida before. I don't think we were overhyping Nebraska before. I think we were being realistic about what our eyes saw Florida's way to win is they were going to hit the ball hard, make good contact, and get enough outs quick enough. They were able to do that better than Nebraska was able to keep the ball in the yard and keep runners off of base on defense. And then on offense, really, go station to station, be productive with your outs. They just weren't today. So the game played out, not worst case scenario for Nebraska, 5-2. You're typically okay with that kind of game. But if that's the case, you think that, hey, Nebraska's in a better spot than the sour taste we have in our mouth right now.
Yeah, I mean, here's another thing to it is that Nebraska didn't get to Liam Peterson early on, and we said that was kind of a key. He did not. They did not do a good job of making him, I guess, prove to Nebraska that he can locate consistently, that he has his strikeout stuff. They helped him out a lot, and there was that 10-pitch fourth inning that Liam Peterson dealt. And a lot of that was because of Nebraska's decision makings at the plate. I think you look at on the flip side of that, Florida was able to get Brett Sears to throw 40 pitches through 2 innings of work and only 1 run to show for it. Like that is the part of baseball that some people might not realize or understand, is that you don't always judge or measure success during a game by runs. That's an important piece of baseball, because
at the end of the game, after 9 innings, you do.
Yes,
but we talked about it too. Florida's bullpen wasn't consistent, right?
Yes.
Jamison was fine for his 4 outs, and Neely has been better, but was better than he looked most of the year. Florida's guys stepped up, but the more times you get that bullpen door to open, the more likely someone is not to have it. But you let Peterson hang on for 5+ innings, right? You had to deliver the knockout blow either there in the first inning or when Florida got 2 in the third. You have to find a way to chase him there.
Well, and Nebraska didn't. I think just to kind of wrap up my point is that they had 2 looks through their top half of the order, had 2 looks at Brett Sears through 3 innings.
Yeah.
So you're talking about you have batted around twice through, what would it be, 9 outs? That has not only allows you to drive the pitch count up, but also that's not a tall task to ask. It's certainly not. Florida left a couple of guys on. It could have been a 4-0 game, could have been a 4-1 game after 3 innings of work. They left guys on base. Nebraska forced them to strand some guys, which is a good thing to hang your hat on. But ultimately, to ask that you guys bat around twice in 3 innings is not, or at least close to fully batting around 1 through 9, is not some tall task of impossible feat to accomplish. That's not the case. I think truly Nebraska just didn't do a very good job of extending at bats, swinging at the right pitches, like Will Bolt said. And we saw where Liam Peterson, and credit to him, fed off of that. As a freshman, you take everything you can get. And
no
Liam
matter
Peterson,
how you get it.
Absolutely. And Liam Peterson was thrilled with a 10-pitch 4th inning. Those are when you should be putting your best swings on balls. That's when you should be seeing and understanding, because that was Nebraska's 2nd and sometimes 3rd time through the lineup. But ultimately, it just did not pan out that way. Nebraska struggled to read Liam Peterson all day long. They struggled to get barrel on ball. And where Florida was able to get aggressive and productive approaches at the plate from pitch number 1 against Brett Sears, and you look up, you blink and you look up, and it's the 3rd inning, and Brett Sears is at 60 pitches, and Florida's batted around 3 times. But they only have a 1-run lead to show for it. There's still advantages to that. The communication piece in the dugout, how do you read a pitch? Nebraska, they tried. I watched Riley Silva go back to the dugout, or maybe it was Tyler Stone after their initial strikeout. It would have been Tyler Stone because Riley Silva didn't strike out until later in the game. But he looked back and he told Rhett Stokes, I just saw him go the downward motion. And he threw his palms up. You're 3 times through the lineup at that point. You should be able to pick that stuff up. I'm not saying I could do it. I'm not saying Austin could do it. But these are the adjustments that are needed to be made mid-game, and Nebraska just didn't make them.
It's on the coaching staff. It's on the players. Everyone deserves some culpability for this. But even to the point about batters faced, Brett Sears faced 26 batters in 5 innings. Liam Peterson faced 23 and 5 1/3. Brett Sears threw 92 pitches. Liam Peterson threw 96, right? They had eerily similar lines. The difference was the 2 runs in the third and the fact that Nebraska needed to respond with more than 1 in that first inning. If you go quiet in the middle innings, but you're tied at 3, okay, fine. But here's the thing. If you're ahead 3-1 after 1 inning and Florida ties it up, okay, you knew they were going to punch back. You feel all right with your chances. But letting that first inning opportunity go by, and the other part of that too is that Peterson faced a few less batters because Nebraska had some long at bats, but it was one guy getting a look at him. It wasn't multiple guys seeing him because the line kept moving and guys were on base like it was for Florida. So Sanderson had that 10-pitch at bat. That's great. Swanson had a long at bat as well to work a walk. Okay, fine, cool, good. That's good. You tip your cap to those guys for that. But the difference was Florida was getting guys on base, so everyone got a look at the pitcher. The third time through the order penalty is real. Florida got there much quicker than Nebraska did and ended up paying dividends for him.
It did, and most guys in the Florida lineup went up to the plate 5 times, and Nebraska 4. That is 9 more, at least 9 more conversations that can be had. That is 9 more looks at a fastball, 9 more looks at a curveball, off speed, whatever it is from Drew Christo. Those are conversations that are valuable when every single moment matters and is magnified so much. All right. It's time for us to get out of here. Appreciate Ben back in our 93.7 The Ticket Studios in Lincoln. Thanks to our sponsors, Sandhills Global, Mullen Motors, Blur Events, the Nebraska Corn Board, Members Owned Credit Union, Allo Fiber, Landmark Implement, and Select Plumbing. We'll join you again tomorrow at noon as we will have pregame coverage getting you ready for Nebraska and what we expect to be Niagara. Obviously, we won't know until that game is finalized. Last check, it was 7-1 Oklahoma State out here in Stillwater. But Nebraska plays for their season to make it to Sunday. They need to get a W tomorrow. Austin, any final thoughts in the final 15 seconds or so?
Excited to get back after it tomorrow. Another day. Let's see if this team is as resilient as it says it is.
There you go. All right. It's Mason McConaughey on the mound tomorrow for the Huskers. We'll tell you all about it tomorrow at noon. Nick Standard, Austin Norman signing off from Stillwater after the Huskers fall 5-2 to the Florida Gators.